Potatoes. They are the universal vegetable. It is grown everywhere around the world, and there is a bunch of different kinds of potatoes. In our country, most of the potatoes are grown in Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. There's two different kinds of potatoes. There are thick-skinned potatoes, and there are thin-skinned potatoes. There are other varieties of these two kinds. There's also what they call lots of starch and less starch. And that makes a difference in what you use it for. So let's look at how the other ways that you can buy potatoes, and then I'll show you how to take care of fresh potatoes. So down here, they usually come in a bag. It's usually cheaper in a bag to buy a bag of potatoes than to buy the single potatoes. But if you're only going to need a couple for the week, only buy single potatoes. The bigger baking potatoes are usually sold singly because they even get bigger than this for the grills and stuff. Okay, the red potato. There's also a white thin-skinned kind of potato too. They're sold also in bags or separately, and most of the time they're separate. But it's always usually, not always, be sure and check. The bag is a cheaper deal. Now you can also get canned potatoes. You can get them whole or sliced. Great thing for food storage. I love canned potatoes. In fact, I introduced it to my mother when she was like 70, and she couldn't believe how good they were. She'd never eaten canned potatoes. So we all can learn something. The other way is frozen, and they have every kind of cut frozen in the freezers. This is like called steak cut, but they've also got hash browns. They've also got the cubed. Sometimes they call that the southern cut. And then this is the O'Brien potatoes, which happens to have the bell peppers mixed in with it. And so you can buy this. It's ready and waiting for you to use with your family. And the hash browns, I've never been really successful at the hash browns, but they are very, very good. Now they also have instant mashed potatoes, and they also have the instant potatoes that are flavored with garlic and other kinds of things. I'm not crazy about mashed potatoes that are reconstituted, but the great thing this is good for is to add to your soups and stews for thickening, and it's a great thing to bread your fish and potatoes with to fry them. Chicken, using this as your batter for the chicken is delicious. It's another way to have people eat potatoes and with your meat. So I'm going to put these aside right now. Oh, I almost forgot. Of course, there's the ever famous potato chips in the bag, and they come in all kinds of flavors. And I do want to warn that you need to read the labels to be sure about the ingredients on the flavored ones and be sure that the amount of salt is not too high. My favorite kind is just a plain potato chip, and that's what I have here. And it has oil on it because they've been fried, but it's not very high, and it's a good way to carry potatoes around for hiking and those kinds of things, and for lunches. So let's get to the fresh potatoes. The fresh potato, the vitamin C in a fresh potato is quite high. However, most of the vitamin C is in the skin. So whenever I'm using potatoes, I seldom ever peel them before they're cooked. The other thing that you can eliminate the vitamin C in your potato is by boiling it. So I don't boil potatoes very much. I want to show you, this is how you, oops, can't get this out. You see how juicy this is when I cut it? I don't know if you can see that, but it's a lot of juice. That means this is a high starch potato. And if you had a really thin, a knife that didn't have the grooves on it, it'd probably stick to it. So that's a high starch potato. And then the other ones don't have that. So I'm going to show you a really quick way. I've already washed these. I'm going to slice it up into cubes. So I cut it in half, and then I'm just slicing it. This is one of the easiest ways to make a bunch of potatoes for a lot of people quickly, and it keeps the vitamin C in because we're not going to put it in water because vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin. And so we just do this, and you can do as many potatoes as you need. You need at least a half of a potato per person. And we're just going to put these onto a tray. I like the rim tray because I don't have to worry about them falling off in the oven. separate all the pieces. And you put a good half a potato for each person that you're going to eat. And then my mother always said you put one in for the pot. I always do that, and it always works out, so it must work. So then you would take some olive oil, is my favorite, and just drizzle it over the pieces. There's one that's stacked, and you want to kind of touch them all. And you can sprinkle it with salt and pepper if you like it that way. In our family, we try not to have too much sodium. So I have the low dose salt here, and I just sprinkle that on. You stick this in the oven at 325 to 375, and you turn them a couple of times, and it takes about 25 to 35 minutes. Great way. Simple, effective. Take it out, serve it. Really easy. And you know me, I want to do it the easy way. Now, boiling potatoes is what most people do, and what I am doing instead of boiling them is I steam them. So over here I have been steaming these potatoes. You can see they've been steaming away. I've left the skins on again. Now, you can serve them this way. That's like a baked potato almost, except that it's steamed. Doesn't heat up the kitchen. A baked potato takes a lot more energy and a lot more time. So this is my way of baking potatoes. If they were small potatoes, maybe even a little smaller than this, you could put them in the steamer hole and just do that. So I want to show you that you could also take these that you've steamed, you can put them, and see how tender, whoops, see how tender they are? They fall apart. And you can put these in to mash them, because people love mashed potatoes. And you can rice them, you can do different machines, but my favorite way is to use the old-time potato masher. And what it will do is, you can mash it up with the skins on. Okay, then you can add, if you like, butter or olive oil, garlic, whatever you want to put in your potatoes. And then one of the secrets to having it less lumpy, although I don't like mine really smooth, so I like them like this thing because it makes it a little lumpy. You add your milk or cream or water, but one thing to be sure about is be sure it's heated up. Just stick this in the microwave for a few seconds and then heat it up and then add it to your mashed potatoes. Go to my website. I have so much more information about potatoes.